Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Hotline League. It is a great episode because we've got playoffs coming up. Regular season is over. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. First, let me go ahead and introduce my constant co-host, Mark Zimmerman. How's it going?
It's going great. I felt really burnt out today because I ended up doing 5 days of like Riot stuff in a row on top of all my other stuff because we had a content shoot on Thursday, I had the dive on Wednesday, and then it was a super week, and then both Dash and Raz were out for a little bit, so just worked those 3 days in a row as well. So I didn't stream this morning to make the blame game. I was saving energy to make sure I had some for tonight.
Welcome to the show. Did you make any progress on Blame Game?
None at all. I didn't even make a fucking document titled Week 8. Couldn't even do that.
Is Blame Game going to be late this week?
Let's hope not.
Okay. Well, great to hear. Before I introduce our guest this week, I should shout out Alienware, Grubhub, and Full Sail for sponsoring this week's episode. But our guest this week is none other than Steve from Team Liquid. How's it going, Steve?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me, as always. It's a joy to be here. It's been a minute since we last did this. It was actually interesting. I was thinking about if we go to Houston and we play, and I ended up watching one of the old videos, I think from St. Louis, when we did the $100,000 bet on the Hotline League show.
Yes.
IRL, and I was reminiscing. It was a great video.
Yeah.
I think that was the last time I was on.
Yeah, no, it's been a bit for sure. And I mean, I can't wait. I can't say anything yet, but hopefully by next week, Mark and I will have some information on a live Hotline League for LCS Finals because we're pretty sure we're going to be able to make it happen.
I think
nice.
the other funny thing about that time was that got removed from the league subreddit, and I think that was about the time I burned whatever like little bit of social currency I still had with the Reddit mods, because I was like, you fuckers took that down, and I bitched and moaned so hard about it because I was like, you took down a bet between owners. How is it not related to League of Legends? Blew my mind.
Yeah, it's a little silly.
And then Steve had to. I think you and Andy had to stop talking about that afterwards because the commissioner was like,
I may or may not have received some messages.
Yeah, exactly.
But did you receive $100,000 is the real question.
He can't speak to that, I don't think. Okay. Anyway, great to have you on. I know we were trying to get you on a couple weeks ago, and then you were busy at a South by Southwest dinner, I think. I'm sure things have been picking back up for you again. Are you traveling a ton more now?
A little bit more, yeah. I was in Austin for trying to close a deal, and so I was there for a few days, so I had to cancel, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But yeah,
No, it's okay.
traveling, getting back out there. After you're vaccinated and boosted, it's like, get me out of my house.
Yeah.
I'm like ready to go do things.
You're having a flashback. One of the flashbacks I'm having right now is I remember doing an interview with you like the first week or two of everything being shut down in like March of 2020, where you were talking about how I think you guys were one of the first folks to be like, yeah, we're shutting down the office and everybody's home and like nobody come in, and just talking about how you guys were pivoting to trying to make all this stuff work online right around the time that LCS had to cancel a week or move a week, I guess, delay. So it's kind of funny to see, here a couple years later, things are starting to come back finally.
Yeah, that was a lot. We took a lot of protocols into place when everything was going down. So
yeah,
and for good reason. I think turned out well. We didn't really have too many issues, which was nice.
Yeah. Have you guys killed the final boss yet and raced to world first? Is that done yet?
So no, we we kind of bowed out on that final day, and then Echo killed the jailer like right after, maybe in like 30 minutes after. So yeah, that was a little rough, but totally respect Max and the guild and their decisions.
I think
they're tough ones to make.
Didn't this one go way longer than everybody else usually goes?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I think on average it's something like 7 to 10 days. And so this was, 18 or something?
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it was interesting because here we just signed the Limit Guild, the rebranded Team Liquid. We're like, let's just do this like the best way possible. We're going to have them at the Alienware training facility. It's going to be just great. we're going to provide all these resources and stuff. We're definitely going to win. And then the facility's still under construction. Permits got delayed, whatever. We couldn't do that. So we had to rent a facility. So now we've got like 40 people in hotels. We're paying like $25,000 a day with like food and lodging and all the production and everything. And it's like, oh, this thing ended up costing like double than what we thought. And it keeps going.
God.
Like on day 18, like kill this fucking boss, please.
Welcome to World of Warcraft. I mean, I guess the nice thing, hopefully, is that it's offset by like the streaming stuff that you guys were getting out of it, so the broadcast keeps going. But
viewership was awesome.
Yeah,
it was really good.
All right, well, let's talk about League of Legends. Mark, are you awake yet?
I've been awake this whole time. Okay. I'm well rested because I didn't do anything else today.
Great, fantastic. By the way, how much of the rain in LA was the thing that made you extra lazy today?
Rain? I actually love rain. Rain makes me feel better. It was actually great sitting next to the window and just watching it rain outside because it's like validation for not getting out of the house.
That's what I mean. I'm just saying, like, I assume today felt extra, you were able to feel extra lazy.
Right, but I feel more energized about my laziness. I'm like, well, what else was I going to do? Go on a walk? No fucking way.
I see.
Wasn't going to go anyways, but now I have a reason.
Fantastic. Glad to hear. Okay. Well, let's see what to talk about this week. So we had LCS has finished its final weekend of regular season for spring. That's obviously the huge one. We're headed into playoffs. We have MVP voting and all pro voting as well. Mark, have you submitted your ballot yet?
I haven't
neither have I.
30th.
So Mark and I are. You guys are here to if you maybe there's some takes where some people can convince us. Maybe you'll sway us in a direction where we can actually have some votes going in the, if you convince us with a great argument, then obviously it's going to sway us. There's the big interview with Vedius that popped off about North American viewership. I don't know if people want to talk about that. Obviously Steve is here, so I'm sure we'll get a ton of questions about TL finishing first, how things are going with TL, playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. Anything else I'm forgetting, Mark?
No. I mean, people like the analyst desk this weekend.
Yes. Is Dash in trouble, Mark?
Dash is gone forever now.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure he's back this week.
Yes.
I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure he's back this week.
No, I'm just saying. Everyone loved the analyst desk so much while he wasn't here, so I don't know if that
was my point, was that he's gone now for good after we got that Reddit thread.
Do you think that Reddit threads. Jat poisoned him to take him out of the game?
That's exactly what happened. Is Jat and I are secretly eliminating people. We tried to finish Raz off, but he bounced back too quick.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Okay. So, Mark, are we pulling callers yet?
I have a couple callers. You want to get right into it, or do you want to like ask Steve a question or two about the weekend?
Yeah,
stuff?
Well, I was just checking. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I don't know if you have anything you want to ask first, Mark, as we cheat in on the callers. But I mean, Steve, I guess maybe I'll ask, how has the split felt compared to previous ones? Because I know things looked really doom and gloom for a little bit at the beginning with Core JJ and not knowing when all that stuff was going to go. So I don't know if you were having flashbacks, because obviously you guys continually in spring split always have something goes awry, like Broxa or whatever else. So I don't know how the split's been for you.
I mean, the split's been almost like it started off like every other split. I'd say we go into it assuming that there's going to be issues, and there were issues. And I think there was a lot of anxiety around whether or not Core was going to get his green card. And I had made a bunch of promises to the guys when I put the team together that we were going to build the best team possible. And, Core was going to play. There was a chance that his green card might not go through, and they understood that. And as it got later and later, I actually thought at one point like it wasn't going to happen. And, that would have been just horrible. And we put so much work into getting that whole thing, and it came down to the wire. I mean, he literally had to go back and serve in the military, and we were talking days at this point. And so if we didn't get it in time, he was going back. And that was it, you know? So that was definitely a little bit stressful. But no, it's been a good split. I think the major difference that I'd say in this team in comparison to any other team has been there's no glaring attitude problems. There's no like one person that isn't checked in or is being passive aggressive or is not trying all that hard in every scrim or every game. Like this team is just there's that's kind of scary. It's like there's no issues. It's like what the hell, you know? I'll give a quick story. We were going to celebrate one of our games, and we went to this Brazilian steakhouse restaurant. I forget the name of it, and we were all hanging out. And it was like an hour and a half dinner. And in 10 years, the number of times that I've had dinner with the League of Legends team, you know, hundreds, maybe close to 1,000 at this point, right? Always the players have their phone out, doing something, checking their phone, checking Twitter, playing games, whatever. The whole dinner, everybody was just like enjoying, having a good time, focused like on each other and conversation. And I don't know, it was just kind of, holy shit, these guys just love hanging out with each other and they're having a fun good time.
When's the other foot
telling.
drop? Who's going to be the one to stir it up and break the peace? It's going to happen at some point, right?
I mean, it always does happen. It's a matter of when, not if. That's how I believe. I mean, something's gonna go down. I don't know what it is, but something's gonna happen. And fuck, it just happened. Like I don't know. Well, maybe it's better it happens now rather than Worlds.
Well, on this point, I want to congratulate both of you as 2 stars of a video that has now hit 1 million views, because as of today, Breaking Point has hit 1 million views on YouTube. I saw a bunch of people tweeting about it. So this is somewhat, unrelated point on things always imploding.
Okay.
Looking, maybe we could do a quick Breaking Point retro, looking back on that now. Mark, what were you going to say?
First off, everyone gets this wrong. I was not there for Breaking Point. I had basically not been a part of that organization since like the start of that
Mark,
year.
Breaking Point happened because of you. The terrible situation you left the team in when you departed.
So that is actually true. That is not really an exaggeration. I definitely left Steve in the lurch a little bit because I hit my breaking point off camera very early into the off season, and I was like, I can't do this for another year, dude. Get me out. And like
Mark, please don't leave me, please don't come back. One more split, please.
I couldn't do it. So then we convinced Loco to do it, and then he was the star of Breaking Point instead. So I managed to dodge that leading role. So I wasn't actually a part of it in that sense, but I guess you could say in some sense there was a prequel maybe with me. I don't know, that just never aired.
Yeah. True. Well, regardless, it's kind of fun to see that video hit 1 million views at the same time where you're also talking about just how nice the team is vibing right now, because hopefully it's a great way to celebrate the growth that the organization and the team has had over these couple of years. So Mark, I don't know if you have any questions.
I have a follow-up on that. It's been a subject of discussion on and off throughout the years. Like anytime, and we have a call kind of about the current TSM situation from like another owner kind of perspective. But like it comes up all the time as, oh, Breaking Point was a mistake, or it was like a landmark thing that got people so invested in the scene. And like, I don't know, retroing back from your perspective, is like, do you regret releasing it all? Are you still like, no, it was just a piece of content. Like we didn't kill anyone with all the stuff that happens, a documentary, like I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective on it, I remember a conversation that I had with Damien, who was kind of like the lead in driving Breaking Point and the inspiration about it. And he sat down with me and he said, how do you want the team to look? What is the narrative? What are things that are important to you? And I told him, I said, just film everything and be honest and be transparent, and it will be what it will be. and that was the directive, because I felt like it was better to just tell the truth and just just let it be what it was going to be, and that's it. So I don't have regrets. I mean, there's been many people who have come to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I wish we didn't release that. Oh, that didn't look good for Team Liquid. It wasn't good for the brand. It wasn't good. All this kind of stuff." But it was a point in time, and that's how shit was, and it captured that. You know, like we grew from it, and it's looking back, I think it's fine. I'd actually love to take Breaking Point and make it like Breaking Point 2 and like maybe
you
it's
had
on
your
one
chance
of our
for
other
that last
games.
year, Steve, and you
Shit
didn't
going down
record
another team or other teams too, or another. I just what is there to hide? Like, we're trying to win a championship, shit goes down, just tell the story.
I didn't know you're such an artist, Steve. There's truth and beauty in it. It might not be pretty, but there's beauty in the ugliness.
I think it's cool because it's, to this date, I think the only time I can remember in recent years that there's been an honest depiction of what's going on in a team. Like Mark kind of referenced TSM. Who the fuck knows what's going on over there behind the scenes? And they release their show every week, and I'm not trying to dog on the folks that are making it by any means, but like the fact that there are so many questions and there's so much speculation, to me indicates that there's just a lot of stuff that they don't actually put out there. And so, and not to specifically call them out, because I know there's a ton of other teams that have done the same thing. There's people deciding what to and what not to put in these things. So, yeah, it's just kind of fun to have it. How long ago was this? 5 years ago? Was the
5 years?
Yeah,
season 6. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that if you do a weekly drop, it may affect the performance and the mindset of the team. But if you play the season through and then you drop a piece of content, it's less affecting to performance. So I can understand like Legends and maybe not sharing some of the information, but that's I guess the nice thing about just capturing a lot of content over a period and releasing like an hour movie or so.
Yeah. Wait, everyone should do this. This is actually so perfect because you know what it is? At the end of the year, at the end of the season, you're going to drop whoever on the team was toxic anyway. So this is just your explanation on like, yeah, this is why we dropped this toxic person or why this person left. Here's the fucking documentary that showcases everything that went wrong. I definitely feel like teams should do this because like we're flipping players out of the team so quickly that it's like, why not just air the dirty laundry on the way out? Okay.
It was an hour 47 too.
Ooh,
a long
hour
movie.
47. My God.
It's still almost half the runtime of Batman.
Okay. Mark, do you want to go grab our first caller?
Yeah, I'll grab a caller. We got enough people in here. I don't need this spiel.
Some quick shout outs to some subs. I shout out some from the start of the show, but Crouton, thank you for the 28 months.
Oh, wait.
You're back? Oh, here he goes. Crouton, thank you for the 28 months. Heart of Kyber gifted a sub to Team Liquid. Very nice of you. I'm sure they appreciate that. T-Fish88, pfwanger, Smoke Dog, Shadow Spectre, so many things, and Lil Bonaparte. And Sleeve, thank you as well for all of that. Okay, PCD is here. PCD, you want to let people know where you're calling from? You're muted. You have to unmute PCD. Peter.
Yeah, hello. Hey.
Hello, Peter Dunn from EG.
What?
Coach, what do you want to talk? Where are you calling from?
I mean, I don't see a Peter Dunn on stage with EG.
You're kind of quiet. Can you speak up?
I said I don't see a Peter Dunn on stage with EG anymore.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, Peter Dunn unaffiliated.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I'm on EG.
Okay. I thought we were breaking news right now.
For the sake of this call, though, he's going to want to be unaffiliated.
Oh, you're unaffiliated.
I want
Okay.
to be unaffiliated for this call because I call in or make this case every single split. And my take is, Travis, I think you should vote Jojopyun for first team mid laner.
Okay. Jojopyun, maybe I would vote for him if he ever did a fucking interview with me. I'm so happy you called in. You fell into my trap, Peter Dunn, because I have been trying to interview him since the very beginning of the the time, and I got one interview with him in lock-in, and then ever since I've requested, does he decline every interview request from everybody? Is it something personal with me? What's going on, Peter Dunn?
I can't possibly comment. But I'm gonna make the case for why you should, because you were asking for suggestions for who you should vote for your MVP votes, and I'm gonna make the case.
Okay, go for it.
No hidden information, just purely public information. Firstly, so I only bothered to go back until 2018, but he has the best laning stats, the third best laning stats in the last 5 years of any mid laner that's played in LCS. The only two people who matched him were Niski in that year where Cloud9 like stomped everybody, and Jizuke last summer, and both of those people made first team. His CS differential, the difference between him and the second highest person in CS differential in the league, is almost as large as the difference between second and 10th, and is larger than the difference between second and 9th in terms of his CS lead in early laning phase. His team fight stats are mediocre, but he has by far the least percentage of gold share and CS share of any mid laner post laning phase, post 15 minutes. So which suggests that not only is he one of the most dominant laners that the LCS has ever seen in his first split as a rookie, everyone who's done better than him has made first team, and that should be acknowledged and should be recognized, and that's why you should vote him for first team.
Mark, you want to take this before we let Steve in?
Really, I thought Steve should go right away.
You can go first.
He's. I'm glad there's some new talent that is coming into the league, and I was buying into the hype, when things started off in the season, and I wanted him to be really good. I did, and I know he's been doing well in solo queue, and he's received the respect of a lot of players in solo queue. And I think he'll be a good player at some point, a great player, I should say. But he's got some things to learn, and when he does, maybe voting him in for best mid laner would be appropriate. But now is probably not the right time for him. Isn't that a nice answer?
Yes.
That was more nice than I thought you would be. I thought you would hype Bjergsen up way more. You didn't even suggest that Bjergsen should be the
well,
first
let me quote Jojo Peter Dunn as an example of why Bjerg should get it. Jojo says, "Can't wait to verse my idol Bjergsen in playoffs." He tweeted this earlier today.
Yep, his idol Bjergsen.
Yes, exactly. So should I be giving it to Bjergsen?
I think when Bjergsen plays in LCS, you should definitely vote Bjergsen.
Okay, got you. Mark, what obviously we have two very very compromised individuals here. So what do you think of this as a neutral third party?
As a neutral third party, it's tough because I'm hearing all these stats that Peter's throwing around. Normally I'm a big stats guy, but funnily enough, this is probably one of the most unimportant statistical seasons we've ever had. I don't know if I quite phrased that right, but there's just an abnormal amount of games I need to throw out, and a lot of these sites don't do it right now. For example, I just can't trust any game where there's a roaming smite top player. That just ruins the entire game, more or less, because you just have this bullshit affecting every single lane in the game. I'd have to go through and remove all those ones. You guys play with that sometimes. Is that affecting JoJo's stats? I don't know. There's a little period of time where Senna popped her head up again, and that ruined some stats for a couple games. And then we talk about this a lot on the desk, but the mid lane champ pool feels so much less important to win lane mid this split than others in terms of individual carry potential. While it's obviously still a very important position on the map strategically, in terms of individual shine, there's a lot of players who just didn't need to do that, and their teams still won a lot because it doesn't seem to be that important to dominate mid to win games right now. Whereas I think there's been periods of times where it's like if your mid wasn't dominating, you probably weren't one of the best teams. But those are my thoughts right now. I got to admit, mid lane is probably the most fucked up role to do all pro voting in my mind, at least, especially with how the split ended. Just like Takui crash and burning, Bjerg popping off late in the split. Like, I don't know.
Do you think that it's Bjerg, Mark? I mean, I know you can't reveal who you're going to vote for, but
yeah, I'm kind of leaning Bjerg. Let me throw another stat at Peter Dunn. A Blaze Olive has 54 deaths. Jojopyun has 47. My boy Bjergsen has 21. Same amount of games.
Jojo's not a KDA player.
You're right. That goddamn KDA player Bjergsen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's one thing you could say about Jojo, which is that he's not afraid to die for his team.
He does it a lot. I'll give him that. He's very good at dying for the team.
You know, one of the things that I've always valued in a mid laner, at least from a stat perspective, and I think the game has changed considerably from the way it was a couple years ago till today. I think today, one, you've got more roaming mid on recalls. You have more effect on the lane than before. It's not just like a 1v1 in top lane. I think a lot of champions just shove and buy time, and it's just a pushing game in the laning phase anyway. And the best stat that I think is most important is just team fighting. I think if you can team fight, position, maximize damage per fight, your average contribution to each team fight that you can participate in, that's a great mid laner from my perspective.
well,
That's how you win games right now.
Peter Dunn. I think it's just hard for me because Jojo doesn't stream. He has very little social media presence, and he won't do interviews with me. And so, man, it's just really hard to remember that he's in the league whenever I'm looking at the ballot, I guess is maybe the way that I would put it.
Do you need to get something out of it to give him the vote?
No. I don't need interviews. But it is funny because I was like hoping that Peter Dunn would show up in the Twitch chat today. I did not have hopes that he would show up on the show. But I am a little disappointed because we were supposed to hype Jojo up as this exciting rookie, and it's been tough because it doesn't seem like he wants to do any content. And so this is a separate grief from the from All Pro. Obviously, I don't let my interview statistics influence my voting, but it is disappointing in a world where I feel like the league needs more names. Whenever one of the newest exciting ones that Tim can't keep out of his mouth doesn't ever seem to want to do very much content.
You want to hear my theory on what happened? He did that interview with you, and you were like, Jojo's unimpressed with Bjergsen. And then he lost the finals, and he's like, I'm not doing interviews with Travis again.
Maybe. But he also hasn't tweeted other than the Bjergsen thing, which I don't know if that was him or if it was inspired. I think Peter made the joke that it might be inspired. He hasn't tweeted since February 26th. So if he did decide not to do that, he hasn't done much else, I guess, which is a little disappointing.
You killed his entire social media career, dude. What the hell?
Yeah, clearly. I'm so powerful. Okay. Peter Dunn, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we take a quick break?
Shout out to EG fans, various sponsors, and shout out to the show. And I can't do any of the other shout outs that I know your callers like to do, but thank you for having me on for our yearly thing. I'll be back next year to hype up Jensen, I assume.
Nice.
See you.
Okay. I'm excited to we'll get you on the show as a guest again soon.
See you.
See ya.
See it.
All right, we're gonna take and there goes Mark. We'll take the break after Mark comes back with the next person. Thank you to Oh My God Joseph Joestar, Kanoke for 2 years, Dasher777, and Scorchio for the subs. Oh man, the other thing I forgot to ask Mark, Peter Dunn, was about the conversation. Do we have any calls about the patch conversation people were griping about on Twitter?
I didn't even see that.
So
my head in the sand.
Giotto, who I think he was in chat earlier, he might still be here, he tweeted, "Can't wait to play playoffs in 5 days on a patch that is released in 2 days." And the Steve replied and said it's his own race to world's first. But it's then Peter Dunn was chiming in on this, and there's a bunch of conversation about it. And my understanding was, or my guess is that this was because last year we played on a very old patch for playoffs, and people complained about being out of sync for MSI. And so maybe this is the answer now. I don't know, but I just was going to ask Peter Dunn about it because he brought it up. So
it is a weird problem. If you do an old patch that everyone's practiced on, then you're behind the meta for MSI, which I actually think is probably the best option. The other two options are update the patch in the middle of playoffs, which can feel weird that you're like doing a best of 5 on one patch one week and then a best of 5 on the other next week. Or this option where you try and get the latest patch to then have, so you're less behind when MSI comes through. I don't know. I don't have a super strong preference, but there's a potential complaint for all three.
yeah,
I think the last is probably the best option, which is the one they decided with, right? Because, you want to have a shot at MSI, and part of the game is adaptation and figuring out the meta. And yeah, it creates probably some more variance in who can figure it out first. But, the team is more than just the players. It's like the coaches, the analysts, all the research, information, statistics, like decisions on what they play in practice and matchups. And you just got to be more prepared in a shorter amount of time. So it's just a sprint instead of, this kind of marathon on the same patch. And that's just, to be a great team, you have to be able to adapt with that stuff. That's my mindset. And if you boo-hoo about it, or, you're just wasting time and effort and energy. Even
Hear
thinking.
that, Gil Hoto?
Okay, pfwangs is here. Wangs, where are you calling from?
Bay Area, California.
Bay Area. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so my take is that Teal's mid-game throws will cause them to lose their best of 5 to EG, eventually win out the losers bracket, and then lose to C9 in the finals. And some of the reasons being, I feel like Teal has been consistently throwing their games, especially around like Herald or getting ace when pushing too aggressively. And I think on the Jat podcast today, he said that Teal actually doesn't have that great of a record against winning teams, and I guess EG is officially 10-9, so there's another reason to add to that. And yeah, I also have been a bit surprised. I thought Core and Hans would dominate lane more this season, especially given the hype, but I think what we're seeing is that isn't necessarily going to happen. And yeah, I think Teal will be too focused on like thinking that they already beat EG and looking forward to the next game that they won't be as focused and end up losing.
So here's an interesting stat for you, caller. EG are 0-5 versus TL in the last 5 games.
I mean, sooner or later, it's law of averages, right?
It's going to go back to 50-50, Steve. You're getting 3-0. It's law of averages.
Also, a ton of people in the chat think that you're Max Waldo, caller, which is very fun. Apparently you sound a lot like him. Okay, Steve, why are you guys going to lose to EG and then lose to Cloud9 in the finals?
Quite the narrative. No, I mean, I appreciate an opinion. I'd say the caller's right about us playing mid-game a little sloppy, especially around Rift, pushing with advantages. I think part of it is that if you listen to the comms of the guys, they're trying to push their advantage more quickly than they otherwise would. Instead of taking like the slow, calculated whatever, it's they're just putting their foot on the gas a bit more, which is probably leading to some of that. I actually think, though, that a best of 5, best of 3, you're just going to see the better team win anyway, right? Like, even if they make a mistake. So I think it's kind of counterintuitive. I think EG probably has a better chance to beat us if it was a best of 1 versus a longer series. Yeah, we'll see what they have, and the meta might be completely different. I don't even know what the patch is. From what I heard, they're like nerfing healing, and it's like a pretty substantial patch. If that's the case, then maybe couple games. All it takes is a couple of games and just lose your footing. So maybe the band pick's a little wonky or something, and we're not ready for it. I'd see it being more of that than just macro and general gameplay. I think we're just by far the better team in that regard.
So, caller, one little problem with your theory is that all three of the top three teams are 1-1 against each other. And then they're all 2-0 against EG. So you can make that point about like the win rate thing with literally every team in the upper bracket except EG, who happens to be who Team Liquid is playing. So I don't think that part holds much water. I agree about the mid-game throws. But I feel like they can do what they did versus Golden Guardians, where they just go like turbo scaling if they ever need to, and go like they did the Orange Trundle Victor Ash game, which was just the most boring shit ever. But like they can, I think, always fall back on that if they need to. Like bring the Zillion back. It's been a hot minute since we saw that. You know, like I think there's enough strategic diversity available to Team Liquid that even if they do have some problems in gameplay, they can maybe draft to help shore that up. If they're making some mid-game problems, but their laners don't usually get beaten in the early game, then just draft a little bit later scaling and can naturally win some of those games, even if you have a little stumble.
I think my other issue is there's not much... Like, this seems kind of like an anti-TL. TL's not great take Wangs, or not as good. I mean, you have them, I guess, in the finals, so it's not terrible. But, like, there's not too much data to show that EG's, like, really solving a lot of their issues or really shoring stuff up. It's not like they're coming out of a big streak. You know, like, obviously 100T lost their game, but they seem like far more of a threat because of the streak that they did have towards the end of the split, rather than EG, who's kind of like struggled to figure their stuff out the entire time. Now, they did finish 4th, so that's nice. I think that's about where people were expecting them to land, but it just doesn't... I'm not like, wow, and then they've been mega powering up, and now they feel like the big dark horse going into playoffs. So, to Steve's point, maybe like the patch stuff will help them a bit, but it's just hard whenever you're... Like, I would potentially feel... I would definitely feel more concerned for TL if they were facing 100 Thieves rather than EG. I feel like EG and getting that first seed slot has actually been pretty good for TL. So, I don't know, Wings, if you have any other thoughts on it.
Yeah, I just say to Steve's point, where they're drafting scaling, I feel like there have also been a couple of games where TL's like pushing with Baron, and then they get like 5-man ace. And I feel like you could end up in a late game situation where you know, that happens and EG just pushes for the win. And I don't think it's just like, oh, they've only thrown like a couple. I feel like over the last couple of games I've watched, it always happens. So in a best of 5, it could happen like every single time. And yeah, I just think TL just might be not as focused on EG, or just overconfident, thinking that, yeah, we've already beaten them like 5 times. So this would be the walk in the park, and like, let's focus on, you know, spending a bit more of our practice time focusing on C9, potentially. Yeah.
I mean, you say that, but don't they get the extra week off in between? Yeah, they do. They get the week of the 9th off. So if they're literally like, yeah, fuck AG, we're gonna spend 3 weeks preparing for Cloud9, like that is I think Kyoto is making some strategic mistakes there. Hard for me to imagine that's
what VODs is he watching right now? Is it EG or Cloud9, Steve? Can you leak at least that much?
I mean, just knowing how the team is practicing, they always focus on what's next. You know, you got to focus on the match you have coming up. So I don't even think they're thinking about Cloud9.
Dude, they're not even thinking about C9. They're thinking about T1. All right, they're studying the T1 VODs because they're like,
you guys gonna handle Carrier? What's Core JJ gonna do about Carrier? That's actually the only thing you need to think about right now.
All right, Wags, thank you so much for calling. Anything you want to shout out before we take a quick break?
Yeah, I guess shout out my Twitch channel, pfwangs. Shout out Avali. Shout out your guys' Genshin channel. And shout out you, Travis. Really enjoy your travel vlogs. Hope you do more of them in the future.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, hopefully we do some cool stuff. I'll catch you later.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break to talk about Alienware. Steve, you were in Austin trying to seal a deal. Is that the company in Austin I'm aware of?
No, it was
No,
a
different
different
deal.
one. I can't talk about it at all, but it'll be a first.
Okay.
I'll say that for us.
Well, I'm excited to find out what it is. But let's talk about not the first for TL, which is Alienware, another company based out of Austin.
It's also kind of the first for us too, by the way, which is one of our first sponsorships.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Back in the first days.
That's what I was thinking of. And didn't they? I want to say they sponsored Team Liquid as well, but maybe I forget.
Well, I will say, just as a quick shout out before you do your shout out, I actually don't think all of what happened with Curse and TL would have happened if Alienware didn't sponsor the team.
Oh, really?
I just don't.
Have you guys talked about this before?
Maybe just in, maybe with Marcy a little bit, but never like formally.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
is super cool. That's a really cool story. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's how I knew. I was pretty sure Alienware also sponsored TL, but I wasn't sure. But that's how I knew of Alienware for so long in the esports space, was just working with you guys. Anyway, talking about Alienware, so they've got a bunch of really cool stuff. I actually got an X14. I showed it to you guys last week. But one of the things that I am doing now that I am really excited about, and we're going to do this after the stream, after the show on stream, is I now have the 34-inch OLED display that recently came out. This thing is beautiful. I am really, really excited to have it, and I can now talk about it because I've had it for a little bit. And I'm going to be playing God of War on it. But yeah, go take a look. Yes, Harder Kyver says QD OLED. Yes. If one recommendation, I tweeted this out, but you should go, if you don't trust my sponsored word for it, go look at the Linus Tech Tips video, or most of the other videos that I've seen. Actually, I think all the ones I've seen reviewing it have just gave it phenomenal reviews. It's kind of a first of its kind type tech, and people are really excited about it. But it is awesome. And I'm going to be playing God of War on it. I'll be talking more about the sort of specs and the vibe of it whenever we get there, but it is just so cool. I actually have an OLED TV in the living room that I play games on sometimes, and I'm so excited to have the technology now in my office at my gaming station. And my God, it looks so good. So we'll talk more about that whenever I do the stream afterwards. But yeah, this thing is fantastic. I saw it. That's great. I get to play God of War on it. It's fantastic because in the Alienware update, I saw Hungry Box playing on it. They did a whole thing with him and talked to him about his experience. So it's been good. But go take a look at this thing. It is awesome. Again, just go look at the reviews and hear how other people are discussing it. Folks that are even more technically minded than I, and you'll see people are losing their minds. Go check it out. Alienware.com/Travis if you want to do that. And really love Alienware and their support of the show. Mark, you want to go grab the next caller? Off he goes. Thank you to Trevor Monreal, Charlie Peel, Weather Mullet, and Cuckoo Coop for all of the subs.
Hello.
Lil Bonaparte. You've been on the show before, right?
I have. I'm the show's #1 TSM hater.
Oh, right. Welcome back to the show. Where are you calling from?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. What do you want to talk about?
I just kind of want to throw out a discussion topic for Steve. Steve, if you were the owner of TSM right now, how would you rectify the situation that is there's a lot of things going on. There's investigations, their dog water at LCS, at League right now. You have a lot of your upper leadership leaving. So how would you kind of handle that stuff as a phenomenal owner? Team Liquid's the best team. Just saying.
Really buttering him up for this one.
Damn. Well, what a question. This is a good one, huh?
Yeah.
Gosh. I guess I'll just give an honest answer. Yeah, I think, to fix the situation, I'd probably go in, figure out who's leading and who has leadership positions. I'd figure out if they're in the right roles and responsibilities. If they're not, then I'd probably get new people leading those things. And that would hopefully solve some of the problems that have nothing to do with League of Legends. You just have some people probably in the wrong roles. There's probably some cultural stuff going on with a lot of folks leaving, like you mentioned. So, lots of communication with staff and rallying around culture and what you want to do with TSM and accomplish at the company and talk to your staff and rebuild trust. It's one of those things that's easy to lose, really hard to gain back. So you have to do that over time. And then on the League of Legends team, I would just rebuild the roster, probably. I have no idea what's going on over there. I really don't. So I don't want to make it seem like I do. I really don't. But at least from outside looking in and things on Reddit and, comments and passive aggressiveness and just all the back and forth and drama and stuff, it just feels like time to just rebuild. And the best way to do that is say, this is going to be the team direction. This is what we're going to accomplish. Get in the boat or get off the boat. And then, you get people that want to grab an oar or not. And if they don't, then, see you on the next boat ride.
So I was going to ask, this is the button everyone wants to hear, is the break glass in case of emergency. You sign Jensen for summer at least just to recover your brand a little bit, or would you rather, let's say you can't really put it, you're looking at the names available, you're looking at your moves, you probably can't really be a title threat, maybe not even a world's threat. Do you break the Jensen glass emergency button still, even if it's not going to get you the worlds, or would you actually just take the heat for another split?
No. I would definitely not take heat for the next split. Why just give up when there's opportunity to improve? That seems like a pretty, I don't know, weak answer to, a weak response to losing. I mean, we've had our back against the wall. We've lost. We've been in promotion relegation. We've been in the shitter. We've been fourth place over and over. One thing that we never lost was our will and our passion to do better and try to fix the next split. I think once you give up, you've already lost, irrespective of what the future results are going to be. So your mindset needs to be adjusted first, and then you need to put together the best fucking plan you can put together. And I know that there's going to be less variables because it's in between splits and there's players that are in contract, and likely you have more limited options on trade. That doesn't mean that you can't just try to improve. I mean, you have to identify what's wrong with the roster, which is it a player? Is it the environment? Is it the coaches? Is it a combination of things? Which of those things have a higher degree of impact? Then rank those and then just fix them. Just start knocking them off the list until you get to a better place. And then you're like, this is what we're going to go with. And we're going to give it a whirl. But I definitely don't think it's what is that saying? Definition of insanity is just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Stupidity, insanity, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Would you be more transparent? Because I think one of the things that TSM fans are really harping on is the anti-transparency, the not letting too many journalists in. I mean, the most info we've gotten is a leak for an article about why their coach is leaving. I mean, besides player movements and decisions and stuff like that, there's not a lot of info out there about that. Would you be more transparent?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a good example. I mean, when all the stuff was going down with Jat and Alfari, as you can remember from last year, right? That was a lot of drama around that. And we held a live press conference, live, not VOD. And we just answered questions. I think there's actually responsibility to communicate what the fuck's going on. Now you have some HR, you have confidentiality, you have employee relations issues, you have all these things you have to navigate. It's not as easy as just like, this is what we're going to do. But, you know, within all of that, there's, you know, facts and truth and, you know, what you owe your fan base to communicate without harming anybody's future potential career or what have you. You know, it takes hours and hours of just thinking about, you know, format and how you communicate it. Is it in a video or is it in an interview? Is it going to be on Travis's interview, or, you know, who's going to talk about it? What players? How are we going to bring this up? Like, you have to have a lot of conversations and work on it. It's not as easy as just someone going rogue and saying whatever. You know, this is PR. But not in that kind of PR like term. It's more just how you communicate in the right way. So yeah, they should do that too.
I know we've talked about the team mostly, and I know that's what most people care about, but also just I think there's a sentiment that TSM, the company, is kind of imploding, at least on the esports side, because you have so many, in some cases high profile, some cases less high profile names that have been around there for a long time. Like, it feels like there's a pretty grand exodus, and you know, it paints kind of the picture of like a company that has pretty low morale. You know, they're having a hard time retaining folks. As somebody who runs an esports team and an esports org, like, I'm sure wins help morale a lot, but like, how do you manage the morale of the Team Liquid employees and like the company as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it's a multifaceted thing. You know, we have a leadership team. It's not just the CEOs. It's a responsibility that all of our leaders have to our staff, and we emphasize communication. We do these things called huddles, where we all get together and we talk about the company's goals and where we're headed and why we're headed there, and, you know, what the vision and mission of the company is going to be, and everybody's contributions and what it, you know, because I don't think people today do work because of a paycheck. I just don't. I think they do it because they want to affect something. They want to change something. They want to contribute to a better future or vision, or accomplish, you know, something that they can be proud of, or that they can be proud of with a group of other people. And so you have to paint that, and you have to talk about it in a way that feels tenable and achievable. And then you rally around that, and everybody contributes in their own kind of meaningful way in order to get there. And so you got to communicate. You got to stay in front of people, and we do these huddles, we do let's chat sessions. I think we're pretty good at just listening to our staff. That answers.
I'll work for you any day of the week, Steve. I'll come work for you guys. Sounds like a good environment. No, but it's great answers. I really appreciate your openness.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Andy. I mean, as everybody knows, like, Andy and I are friends, and, you know, I actually felt really bad after I did that tweet with the copy pasta from Andy. I was like, gosh, that was I actually never. I don't usually feel bad after I shit talk Andy, just because we like know each other so well. But I actually felt bad after that one, and then, you know, he's been going through it and the org. So, you know, I hope they come out the other side and figure this out.
My question to you is, do you think Reggie, if you had switched spots, he still would have tweeted it too?
Yeah,
I feel like that. Yes, that's how you can absolve yourself of it. Is like, he would have done the same to me.
That is true. We do shit talk each other. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Well, Bonaparte, thank you for the call and the exciting questions. Is there anything you want to shout out before we go on to our next caller?
Yeah, I'll shout out Alienware and Grubhub. I'll shout out Team Liquid, actually. So I did the Team Liquid first hackathon, and it actually landed me my current job. So shout out to Team Liquid for just being a great org. And shout out to her for Team Liquid. I've been fans for quite a few seasons. I have my jersey on right now because I was like, oh, Steve's on. Got to put on my jersey. So I really appreciate you guys. And thank you, Travis. Love the podcast. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks. That's pretty cool.
I'm with you too, man. I got the best piece of merch TL ever made.
Yes.
The Derp Horse.
Yes. Thank you, Bonaparte. We'll catch you next time.
That's awesome. Actually, just quick shout out. Thanks for calling in, Bud, and doing the hackathon. We do this like a hackathon program, and that's awesome. That's totally cool. It's actually the first time I've heard feedback on that directly from somebody.
What is it, Steve?
It's basically a program that we put together in order to have folks contribute like development. It's like any other kind of hackathon that you've probably heard of. And we have our partners involved, and we use it as an opportunity for career growth and for folks that want to do like an internship or build experience, and then they can kind of use that to go and find a job, or we hire them. So part of the self-serving interest in doing hackathons is that it leads to potentially new hires at Team Liquid under our development team.
Well, again, thanks, Bonaparte, for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Mark is off to grab the next caller. Shout out to Arvigs, ProStar, and Elmo Kill for all of the subs. Let's see the Liquid Hacks link in the Twitch chat right now for folks that want to check it out. Cool. Bluejay's here. Bluejay, where are you calling from?
Calling from Ontario. How you guys doing?
Good. It's been a bit, I think, since we've had you on.
Been like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, that's for you. It's a long time. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I have to rant here. So if you have to stop me, do that. This is going to get pretty controversial, I think, but I'm going to rant. So let me just go at it here. CLG subbing in CLG Academy for the last game of the split just sucks. Fans are often sold the idea that this is a competitive league, but this decision makes me feel otherwise. A lot of the discussion around this topic is about how this affects other teams. So like Golden Guardians and FlyQuest and so on were affected. But to me, that's just such a small part of this. It sucks mostly because these teams should want to win at all costs. Where is the drive to want to win every single game? And why should I bother caring about whether CLG wins if they don't care about winning? How will NA ever become a competitive team if they don't hate losing? And I have more to say, but before I continue, I just want to say that I understand where CLG staff are coming from here. I think they have good intentions here. They probably look at this and say, look, our academy team is doing great. Let's reward them with some stage time. And I understand that thought process. And for what it's worth, I do believe teams should be able to field whatever roster they want. I've heard, like, you see on Reddit, some shit that, like, they should be forced to play their regular roster, and that's just bullshit. You can never actually implement that, so let's throw that aside. And benefit of the doubt would say, maybe they actually did have some internal issues on the very last day. They went full breaking point and they needed to sub in their other roster. However, their announcement did not make it seem like that. And for me, it's so frustrating to sink so much time into this league when not all the teams are trying to win. Like, yes, they want to win, but I want to follow teams that need to win. And Travis, I've heard you in so much of your content say that teams are maybe spending a little bit more than they should be for players. And I agree with that. I do. However, let's think about why they're doing this. It's because they fucking hate losing. And so I'm really getting tired of this, and I get so fired up over this. And at the start of this podcast, or before you guys even started recording, Mark made a joke to Steve saying, like, yeah, you don't even care, you win so often, like, you're just used to it. And Steve said immediately, I still give a shit. And even just a few minutes ago, Steve, you said something along the lines of, like, why just give up? And I'm going to do, before I'm done ranting here, I'm going to quote Herm Edwards. For people who know who Herm Edwards is, they will know exactly where I'm going with this. He has a really popular line where he says, you play to win the game. And I feel like we don't get that out of all the LCS teams, and that just drives me absolutely insane. The last thing I'll say on this is, yes, this helps the academy team, but you are actually punishing the players that still deserve the stage time. I think we all agree that stage time is really valuable. Poom and Luger absolutely still deserve that stage time. And so for me, them losing a game matters, even though, yes, it is helpful to your academy team. And yes, the intentions from the coaching staff were good. This drives me absolutely insane. I think those guys are the two guys that you should continue to build your roster around. And this just hurts them.
Boy. Okay. So
Where to start?
Mark, I think we've been starting with Steve mostly. I'm kind of
Well,
curious,
let's do it
especially
again.
since
I have one quick question for Steve before I give my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Steve, if you were in CLG's shoes, you're knocked out of playoffs. You have the best academy team in the entire academy system by a pretty good amount, most people say. Do you put him in for the last game on stage?
I might. Yeah.
All right, Blue Jay. Now you can spend 5 minutes screaming at Steve for his answer. Well, since you already opened with it, Mark, let's just Steve. Why would you potentially do that? And what do you think of Blue Jay's take?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple layers to Blue Jay's take. I think the first one that is irrespective of the CLG decision to put in their roster is more of an overarching commitment from all teams within the league to do everything they can to win. And I actually think that there's some truth to Blue Jay in that I believe some of the orgs are checking the box. I think they are free riders. If anybody is an economics person, they know exactly what the definition of a free rider is. And that drives me absolutely apeshit as well. I get as emotional about it. You don't hear about it from me here, but you would hear about it from me at the owners meeting with the other owners, because in order for us to drive the LCS to be a better product tomorrow than it is today, is that we have all teams, or most of the teams, building great rosters and training them to be the best. And I understand that some organizations have lower budget, but you can still do a lot with less. And yeah, I think we should fix that. But on the other side, tactically, maybe they want to give some stage time to the academy. I don't know much about a CLG academy, so I'm just making some assumptions. But maybe they're planning on playing their academy team next split. Maybe they want to do some stage time. Maybe there's some players they want to see on stage so that they can replace some of the members on the main team. I mean, I have no idea. There could be something to it that's more strategic than assuming that they don't care. So that part, you would just have to have more information in order to know exactly why they did it.
Just to defend CLG a little bit, their academy team is number one.
I'll defend them plenty. You don't need to worry about that.
Okay, I forget what I was going to say. There was one. Anyways, go ahead. I've said plenty. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I fully disagree with your take, Blue Jay.
Okay.
The only thing I can agree with is what you and Steve were kind of agreeing on, which is some teams, they don't have a super competitive roster, and it feels like they don't really care about making it as best as they can. But I don't feel like that applies to CLG in this situation, given the strength of the academy roster. I think given that you're already knocked out of playoffs, the goal to win the game is in the long term. I don't give a fuck if I win on week 8 after I'm eliminated from playoffs. I really don't care about that game. At that point, I'm thinking organizationally, what's the next best step I can do? And one more stage game for Poom and Luger versus a little bit more experience for the CLG Academy guys. You're starting to split hairs. Are you really going to get this one data point that's going to be whoa, Rosethorn should have been over contracts all split long? Probably not. But that's why I don't think the amount of passion you have about this one game aligns, because they are trying to win as far as I'm concerned. This is something that maybe Rosethorn went in there and giga stomped EG, and you're well, maybe we should be playing this guy. I don't know. But I think the single game, we're eliminated, and it's not just for fun. I think it can be a little frustrating when teams are we're trolling because we're eliminated for playoffs. We played 5 glacials, Steve.
I know, we did the TFT comp.
Yeah, you did the TFT.
Oh, we still won that one. You won that one.
You won that one. I don't think you were eliminated. I think it was that your playoff seeding was locked.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if your playoff seeding's locked and all these things, I do think there's a little bit of room for having some fun. Let someone pick something you normally wouldn't. I think those kinds of games, when they literally don't matter, I'm okay with. And in this sense, for the CLG org, it didn't matter, and it wasn't like they trolled the game, even though, like you said, some people were talking about it from this is bad for the rest of the league, EG got a free win or whatever. It's CLG doesn't owe Golden Guardians fuck all. They don't know
I
anyone
agree
else.
with that. 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah, they owe themselves to do the best thing for their org. And if they decide this is the best thing for our org, both short term or like in the long term, because short term is dead at this point, then I have no problem with it. And I think it, from the outside looking in, had enough justification to do that.
I think another way of looking at this Blue Jay is like, it's kind of what Mark was saying about hyper fixating on a single game. I mean, if you were going to hyper fixate on winning every single game, then there's a situation where when you have maybe you're first and you're a couple games ahead of other people, and you know you can win by playing the same standard comp you've been playing every single time, but you're like, hey, we really want to try these other things. We want to force ourselves to broaden our champion pools or our strategies, or play something that's a little off meta and like try to figure out if we can innovate. Like the hyper fixating on we're going to try to win every single game, I think it starts to create some knock-on effects that could cause you to lose some of the benefit you could have for the big picture, or the games that matter more. And so I think that that's one of the issues here. I guess you can maybe argue like that's not what was happening here, but it's a type of thing where I think if a team can make a reasonable argument that yes, we were not playing 110% in this match of our strength, not necessarily like commitment or motivation, but of our strength, because of this other reason, like again, maybe Steve was saying they want to do something with their academy players or whatever, then I think it's really reasonable. And yeah, I care a lot less whenever there are no stakes. So I appreciate the passion, and I think it's well placed where you want to see teams that are trying hard and are winning, and it feels annoying to be like, well, I have to watch CLG play their academy team right now. But I think in this situation, it's a little unique.
For the record, I don't hate the academy players. I was even cheering for them to win that game. I think that would be great for them. However, back to your thing about big picture, Travis. If you're looking at big picture, how are we greatest in the long run, then it wouldn't just be for one game at the end of the year. You would have subbed them in earlier, especially with how bad the top side of their map has been. Like top, jungle, and mid have been pretty bad all split long. So
on the other hand, they needed to not get 10th or 9th. Right, because of the conversations we had on the show last week. I don't even know if that was guaranteed. I thought it was risky when they were doing it. I'm not sure if they were guaranteed 8th or above, but.
And to be clear, like that change doesn't necessarily make you immediately better, even if you think it's better in the long run. Like you have to consider the players' emotions. Maybe Palafox loves playing with Contracts and Jenkins, and you as management decide, no, we think Dokla's better. Let's put Dokla, Rosethorn in. And then your team's like, no, this sucks. And you have to reestablish trust in the players and communication and figure out how they actually work. When you're one game away, they were a single game away from playoffs. Like, I understand not messing with it then, because it's really risky right then. So like if they were 4 games out of playoffs, like they should have made that change earlier, but they were never out of the playoff hunt. And as soon as they were, they made the change basically. So, and there was only 1 game left. So that's where I think, I'm okay with this one.
I think that's a totally fair argument. However, I would just echo again that like, don't expect people to come back and cheer for your team. Like this team lost a lot of fans over the years, and don't really expect that if you're not really hungry to win. It's not really worth someone's time investing in your team if you're not giving 110%.
I don't think fandom for CLG was make or break based off of this game. They've got some other things they got to fix before they earn back fans.
They certainly do.
Steve, you were going to say something?
Do.
It looked like you were going to say something, Steve. So I don't.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
The one thing I was going to throw in was just a small chat conversation, which was teams all split long is what I argued, do things that are not in the most competitive interest in the league, because people were harping on that point. But like, was TSM benching Shenyi for a couple weeks for apparently disciplinary reasons for rando picking something on stage? Did that win them more games in the short term? Like you can't, like the argument just that fundamentally breaks down, because people like don't add up that way. They don't do it's like, you can't tell me what's good or best for this individual situation. You know, like people make decisions all the time on their rosters about what's the best lineup, not just for the individual moment, but like long-term, how can you fix the problems your team is having?
Mark, just to round this conversation out, because Blue Jay quoted what I have learned is an American football coach and former cornerback who's the head football coach at Arizona State. He
was on the Jets at the time.
In traditional sports, whenever they're locked, don't they oftentimes play what they refer to as lower string players? Is that like third string player? I thought this is a thing that I've heard or that we've even talked about on the show, where like when you've got playoff locked,
you rest starters all the
They
time.
might,
Yeah.
they might, Travis, but the difference is, one, you would put like your really high prospects. You wouldn't swap a whole team in or out. Or you're also trying to like protect a quarterback, because like football, one snap and you could break a leg or something like that, which is like not what happens
Listen,
in esports,
man,
right? So it's not the exact same
avoid carpal
thing.
tunnel. Okay, we got to be careful with these players. Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough. Maybe it is
It's
injuries.
fair comparison. I thought that myself as well, Travis. I thought the comparison as well, but it's not exact. It's kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Bluejay, thanks for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we take a quick break?
Yeah, just first of all, I appreciate that there's a lot of people that really agree and really disagree with this take, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And the other thing is, I want to shout out Voyboy. I miss that guy. I think he's one of the most positive people we have in the league community, and I haven't heard from him in a while, so I hope Voyboy's doing well, because that guy's a beast.
Yeah.
That's all.
Hope he's doing well.
Goodbye,
thanks for the call,
everyone.
Bluejay, and we'll catch you later. All right, we're going to take a quick break to talk about our second sponsor of the night, which is Grubhub. And once more, I have for all of you guys, and people have been even asking me about this, so it's kind of cool that people have been hitting me up. But we have another promo code for you guys from March. Let me make sure I get the dates right. March 28th to March 30th. Use code TRAVISFREE, all one word, to receive free delivery on your Grubhub order of $10 or more, only for the first 2,500 orders. So that's right. Travis Gafford is bringing you free delivery on your Grubhub order this week through the 30th. So please do use that. I'll put a link, or we'll have that in the description as well for folks. But thank you to Grubhub for making this available. And if you guys can do me a favor, I'm trying to. I don't have the stats on how much these are being used, but because I know some folks really like having these codes because sometimes they're saving money or they're saving money on delivery or whatever. Please try to use it if you end up ordering food and Grubhub is an option and your restaurant is there. I mean, it's nice to support the show anyway, but using those, I think, if a lot of people are using them, I just think it's more likely that we get them again in the future. So please do me a favor and check them out. There's a link in the description as well, and I'll do ! Grubhub in the chat if you guys want to order through that link as well. It's just kind of a nice way for them to track people clicking in and getting interest. But thank you so much to Grubhub for sponsoring the show. They're fantastic. Looking forward to hopefully doing some cool stuff with them at LCS Finals. More details to come. Okay. Mark, you want to go grab the next caller?
Yes.
All right. Fog warning, thank you for the 14 months. People in the chat giving them a shout out. Thank you. Yes, I am not bringing your delivery to you personally, but I am providing you a code that will cover the costs of your delivery. Is Jersey Mike's on Grubhub? I believe so. So maybe you can support both Team Liquid and Travis Gafford by ordering Jersey Mike's on Grubhub. Okay, Mark should be back in just a second. There he is. Spiritus is here. Spiritus, you've been on the show previously, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yes. Welcome back. Where are you calling from?
And this time I'm calling from New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. What do you want to talk about this evening?
I want to talk about, and I'm so stoked that Steve is here for this, but I think that Team Liquid's ongoing strength is largely due to its emphasis on player maturity. I don't just mean experience or veteranship, but like approach to the game, being able to interact calmly and productively with other players and the like. That's based informally through feedback from players that I've heard, and things like that, and just kind of observations on their selection starting when franchising started. I thought that was a really great opportunity to snatch up a team of players that could do that, and I think all the roster changes have reflected that mentality as well. A lot of people like to flame it like, oh yeah, it's just Steve flexing his money or whatever, but it's not just like hot shot pop off players, right? It seems like ones that think critically very well about the game and can have those productive interactions outside of the game and things like that to improve. I can support that.
Have
with
you heard
individual players.
of a? You said post franchising. Otherwise, I'm going to refer you to a video that has 1 million views on YouTube as of today when we're talking about player maturity and mature players. But Spirit is so sorry. Your take is Team Liquid wins because in part because they get mature players, whereas other teams are not always taking into account player personality.
Right, yeah, like maybe an emphasis on more of the coin flip kind of personalities, volatility that other teams have. It feels like Team Liquid is more like the core JJs and the xsmithies and Impact and Bjergsen obviously, and a lot of these other players that are
just out of curiosity, can you give me examples of other teams in the league that have picked up players that you feel are coin flippy personalities or are not as mature, and maybe who those players are?
I think a lot of them are just hot shot, pop off ones. Like Cloud9 has some great ones like Summit and Berserker, obviously, and even Fudge. But like it feels, and like Huni, I think is a great example. But I don't necessarily see those players as ones that are just going to be stable and I mean, they could be over the long run. I don't know, but I think Team Liquid
Team Liquid, dude.
Well.
Doublelift, Alfari, Dardoch, they would never touch those kinds of guys. Fudge, that fucking problematic player, behind the scenes, you always hear those things about him.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say these guys are problematic or whatever. I just think that it's a lot riskier kind of coin flip acquisitions compared to like ones that are stable winners. And I know they had Dardoch for a while, but I think the franchising, that's like when I heard the announcement of the roster for 2018, it was like immediately when I became on board as a Team Liquid fan. And that's largely biased because I love Doublelift and xsmithy and Pobelter, especially. I was big fans of them, but I was impressed with the org's willingness to like drop Doublelift for continued roster stability and things like that, even though I still really love him as a player and support him, as a personality.
Steve, I don't know if you want to address that one. If not, I have another way of spinning this that I think makes it a little more cogent.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes if you've never worked with a player, you are trying to go off of things that you've heard, interviews that you've watched, players that have interacted with that player during the interview process. When you're bringing them on, you try to ask questions, and sometimes you don't always have a way of assessing to understand if they have the maturity, right, or the right kind of attitude. And sometimes you miss with that. And I do believe that player attitude is an essential ingredient. You need mechanics, attitude, and work ethic. Those are the three. And if you fire on all three cylinders, you probably have a pretty fucking good player. And some players, they're not just labeled that way and are that way forever. They ebb and flow based on shit that goes on in their personal life or the team or the environment or the organization or immigration or whatever it might be, but when they're in that mindset with those three things, are really good. And I would say that on average, we probably attract more players that tend to be a bit more mature to the organization. I think they find respect in Team Liquid and what we've built and what we've accomplished and, our will to win and everything. So, and I actually, as long as Bjergsen has been in the scene and everything, and I've known him, I've never worked with him as closely as I have since he's come onto the org. And I will say he's probably the most mature player that I've ever run across in any game that I've ever been in, And yes, this team is a very mature roster. Sometimes you don't always get that, but attitude, collaboration, communication, empathy, how you resolve disputes, not being passive aggressive, being able to communicate your feelings, thoughts, how you want to play the game, all that kind of stuff. it is a major factor in a team game. And I've been there, done that on having players that don't have the maturity currently, to kind of be in a team game. They may get lucky, but yes, on average, maturity is a big deal.
I hang on really quickly. I just want to say, so Spiritus, I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think so. I kind of agree with Steve that they do slightly better on average, but I think that's because they're picking up more veteran players, and players that are veteran and stick around for longer are more likely to be stable players. But I would not say that Alfari was the most chill dude ever from what we saw last year. And it was not too long ago that Ole benched himself in the middle of an MSI tournament. Or
Peter just decided to blow up in 2021.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Right. How many of those players lasted past the end of the season?
Yeah, but that's the same way with every team.
Doublelift won a championship after.
That's true. I understand what you're saying, but I still think you can still be better than average, significantly better than average.
I know, but I don't think it's a very exciting take. Team Liquid is slightly better than average. I mean, even to the extent when we had Steve join the show at the very beginning of the hour, or at last hour, I asked him how this year was going. He's like, we went out to dinner. All these guys are friends. Thank God it finally fucking happened in my career. I don't think, I apologize, caller, but I just don't think that, other than the nice value of picking up, this is a side effect of picking up veteran players. I don't think it was a situation. I also don't believe, by the way, if Faker was toxic as fuck but was as good as he is, and he went on the market and Steve could get Faker on his team, Steve would be like, we're going to get a second sports psychologist and Faker's joining Team Liquid. Okay, don't tell me that Steve would ever give up an incredibly talented player because he was a little intimidated about their attitude. So
I have this mentality that I think I can always fix it. You're exactly right. Even Breaking Point and everything with Josh or Dardoch, it was I'm gonna crack this. This kid is smart, he's talented, he's driven, he works really hard, and he's a smart kid. I know his IQ must be through the charts. I know it for a fact, but I've never I would bet on it that it's really, really high. And I was I'm just gonna figure this out. Enough conversations, enough sports psychologists, and you feel like you'll be able to unearth this great player. Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah. So I think
that's fair.
Oh, go ahead, Spiritus.
I was just gonna say that's fair, but it just seems like the players are pretty well vetted for the most part, and while there are some that cause issues, it's
yeah,
you've moved on from them, and I think there have been a lot more hits and misses. Like you said, the org tends to attract them, but going into 2018, what was it that attracted them?
Well,
I mean, I know there's money, obviously.
Spiritus,
but
I gotta say, I'm sorry, we're running a little. I just looked at the clock. We're running a little under time, so
Fat
I do think
stacks attracted them. God, I'll say it. We were dancing around the bush. You know what happened in 2018? Steve got a bunch of fucking money from investors. The team's budget went up substantially, and he could go for whoever he wanted. That also happened in 2018.
And Immortals got kicked out, so he was able to clean up on that side too. Spiritus, thank you for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to the next caller?
Yeah, Team Liquid.
Very good.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you for the call. Sorry if we disagreed with you. I know sometimes Twitch chat likes to poke fun of this stuff, but I think sometimes it forces a fun conversation.
It's just guessing from the outside though, and I just like to hear the feedback. So thank you guys.
Have a good one. All right, Mark is off to get the next caller. Thank you to everybody in chat. You guys are great. Just want to shout you all out. Bruno is here. Bruno, where are you calling from? Bruno is here. Are you here, Bruno? Bruno, you are on the show. Is your microphone working?
It was problematic before.
Oh, it was having issues.
Yep, he was problematic before. He's muting and unmuting. All right, I'm gonna kick him out, and we're gonna get someone else, and he can try and sort this out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll bring you back, Bruno. Okay.
Every time I hear Bruno, Encanto, the Disney
Yeah, that's
movie,
what I've heard. Yes, people in Twitch chat are already spamming that. I've not seen that yet. Is it good?
you haven't? It's actually really good.
Okay.
You should watch it.
SlurpDog is here. Slurp, where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. What do you want to talk about on the show?
My take was that Fudge will not show up in finals. He's gonna choke when the fans come out, and he's gonna get stomped by every other mid laner in the whole playoffs. But he'll make it to finals, and that the only reason C9 will make it to finals is off of jungle and bot lane.
Jungle and hard carry C9 to finals. Fudge is going to choke, and you said when the fans come out. So do you think is this directly because of the audience?
Yeah, I know you guys talked about it like I think last week, but yeah, like I think not all of the audience, like that won't be all the problems he'll have, but I think the audience will cause a problem. He has a bigger name than he had before in OCE, and like he's definitely made a name for himself in NA, which is a bigger region. So I think that will be an issue for him.
Sorry, did you also say something about Summit that I missed?
Oh yeah, I also don't think Summit will perform very well in playoffs.
Okay, so it's Fudge and Summit.
Yes.
Okay, they're both going to choke. Okay. You know Fudge has played in front of an audience before.
Yeah, but that was in like when he was in OCE, right? And he played like in front of like did he play in front of Worlds?
2019 Worlds.
Yeah, he was on the play-in stage. Never made it to the main stage, but there was still a stage and whatnot.
Was there an audience?
I'm pretty sure in 2019 Worlds, if they have a stage, they have an audience. I remember him walking out with those guys, but maybe not.
I think so. I don't think that they've ever done playoffs without an audience until COVID stuff. So or play-ins.
So, all right, Fudge is overrated. What do you think, Steve? What's the team's opinion? Like when you're like watching scrims and you guys have scrims against C9, are you picking up some secret information about what people think about Fudge?
Yeah, I mean, C9 as a team in scrims is not all that.
Yeah, this is what I've heard. They've joked about this too by saying they've lost all
they
their
have?
scripts.
I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Yeah, they've publicly. I mean, it's nice for you to validate it because you never know with C9 when they say they went 0-15 in scrims if they actually are just trolling and they went 15-0. But yeah, no, it's good. To
I messaged our analyst group in the game on Sunday, and I was like, "What's our win record in scrims against Cloud9 over the last 60 days?" And he told me the percentage. I was like, "Oh my god!" So, I think Fudge is fine. I don't think he's anything fantastic. What the more interesting point is this stage thing. I think I remember when we had, I think it was Matt, Lorlo. Who else was on the team? I know it was Matt.
The Dardock iteration with Piglet and Phoenix.
Were we on stage ever? Was it a stage game in Vegas something like that?
There was your fourth place match versus Immortals where you guys got absolutely trucked because that was their first time for a lot of them, and they were like, the arena is vibrating. What is this?
Yes, that's exactly. I was on stage and I could hear them in the comms because I guess I was on stage then behind the team, and the guys were flipping the fuck out. Like, I'm not even kidding. They're like, "Oh my god, my computer's shaking, my mouse is shaking, I can't hear you. Oh, my heart is beating, I can't focus." I was like, "Oh my god, everybody, calm the fuck down. Relax, breathe, close your eyes." Like, So it is a real thing. I remember having a conversation with, I probably shouldn't say their name, with one of the players, and I was like, "Look, I want you to get on the stage. I want you to go look in the audience, and not just look at the audience like a blur of people." But I want you to just like make eye contact with somebody in the audience. And I want you to look at them and recognize them and give them a name and be like, "That's Bob and that's Sarah," and just relax and chill. And the player did it, and it kind of helped them calm down a little bit, which was good. You got to just like breathe. But it is a real thing. Like, the caller's not wrong. I don't know about Fudge and whether he's been on stage and stuff, but it will be a legit thing. Plus, you add on top of that COVID and interacting and the whole buzz. Like, there's gonna be players that perform better in that type of environment than not.
We do have a follow-up question, a different topic that tackles like audience coming back for playoffs as well and viewership stuff. So I don't want to go too hard on the fan angle right now, but I think it's interesting that C9 are this like team that's underperforming in scrims, and EG are a overperformance in scrims, because I feel like if you're struggling already on stage, it's probably going to get worse. Like if EG can't win on stage right now and you put in like audience and stuff, and for C9, if they're underperforming in scrims but doing okay on stage, I don't know. Maybe Blabbers gets even hyphier. Like and Summit goes even harder in top lane. Maybe they're just a stage team. Maybe you guys are screwed once the fans come back.
Well, so back to SlurpDog's point about Summit not potentially being good. Mark, do you have any reason in the world why we shouldn't trust Summit?
Not really. I mean, so here's the thing. He's always been a little bit of an inter. Even on, you know, his like sandbox days were the worst case of it, where like the team just wasn't very good. I don't think he seemed to give much of a fuck. But like he plays in a way that like when things go bad, they're gonna go bad, and you're gonna see it. But you watch his Champions Queue games. There's games where he's like 0-15 in Champions Queue, like fighting again top lane because maybe I'll win this one. Like that's just the kind of guy he is. So like it's kind of like the other foot drop that I think a lot of people who are more familiar with his career kind of knew were coming at some point. It sucks they come right at the end of the season for like momentum concerns and things, but like, is he going to get absolutely trashed one game in a best of 5? Probably. Is he going to be able to trash other people in a couple games of a best of 5? Also probably. So I'm not worried about him. I'm more worried about kind of like the stage point, just like the bot lane and Fudge just as a whole in playoffs. If skill matchups become more of a thing, because we start seeing LeBlanc Ari and a little bit more playmaking mid lane, and if Bjerg just wants to just fucking skill check him in matchups, I don't know if there's enough skill matchups in the mid pool right now that they couldn't just ban LeBlanc and take Ari or something. But like, that would be my concern about that specific matchup.
SlurpDog, it doesn't sound like there's too many believers here for you, so I feel like we'll have to see if you end up being right, and maybe we'll have you on the show if it seems like Fudge just falls apart. But the only SlurpDog, the only thing is, I have to imagine that the Fudge concern lies solely on the audience stuff, because I remember last year in playoffs, Fudge ended up overperforming. Like Spring Split playoffs was where people were like really impressed by his performance. So obviously he's in a different role now, but if he's able to scale the same way that he did over Spring Split last year in the top lane, like I think it might be not as much of the issues that you think could occur.
I just think. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just think that like Fudge has built such a name for himself over the last few years and he hasn't had this big fan presence and stuff to kind of get used to it. That's going to be like a big shock to him. It's not going to be like a normal like, oh wow, there's like fans here, like no name player, or not necessarily no name, but you know, like someone who's not as attracted to other people, like goes out there and does it. And also same with Summit. I think he's built like a fan base and people like Summit and people cheer him on. But I think like being in a new country, the culture shock, and like having fans from a different country, it's going to like give them a whole big shock, and it'll be a lot for them to handle.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to our next caller?
Not really. Just Grubhub. I just went on vacation to Corpus Christi, and I use Grubhub a whole lot. So shout out to Grubhub, and shout out to Alienware. Thank you guys for supporting the show, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, what were you okaying?
I was going to say, okay, Mark is off to go to the next.
You're wrong. Bruno C is just not going to happen tonight, unfortunately, but I will represent his take for him. His take was about Santorin deserving MVP, and I can see a case for it. I'm sorry I'm not going to make it as well as the caller, I'm sure. But
they wrote it out, I assume, in the take.
No, not really.
Okay.
But Santorin's been really good. He's been super, super good. So, Steve, what do you think of Santorin and your MVP
That's your
chances?
case? Wait, to be clear, you said you could see a case for it, and then you just said he's been good. He's been super, super good. So, Steve, what do you think?
Is that
Mark,
not
you
a
said
good
you were
case?
wide awake. You didn't do the fucking stream this morning so that you could be all here for the show, and the best you could fucking summon for this is he's been good.
Did I not do a good job?
No, I don't think so. I would say you did worse than most of our callers, and that is a monument right there. That is a statement. You didn't even pull out. At least you could have pulled out some random Oracle's Elixir stats or something.
I'm looking stuff. So he's third in goal difference in 10. What do you want me to do, dude? I didn't come prepared.
Bruno
to
in chat says, "LMAO, I wrote an essay for this take."
He didn't send it to me. He asked for shout outs. Anyways, let's not get distracted. Steve, if you wanted to channel all the community sentiment through a player, would it be Santorin, or who would you rally the troops behind for an MVP push for someone on your team?
Oh man, it's such a difficult spot, to like pick a player on the team more than the others. I mean, so this is just MVP for the regular season, right? Has nothing to do with playoff games. This is just overall performance in the regular season. Yes,
right? Because we're voting right now.
He's got Raz says he has the most pogs of all Team Liquid players. He's Player of the Week, Week 8 as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Santorin has really come into his own. I think after we had the issues last year with his health and some things that we had to navigate, we tackled that with everything we had. Bowen was absolutely instrumental in getting everything that we did in order to resolve the problem, and it was resolved. And I think he is he's in his element. Watching him on Viego, I was just kind of like, holy shit, like, what the fuck did he eat and drink today? Like, this is insane.
Which is funny because immediately he did the interview with Gabby, and he was like, yeah, like, it's just Viego. You look really good on Viego because the champion is just really capable of doing a lot of stuff, which I thought was very funny and humble.
I mean, he's just a humble guy, but I mean, he's also shown like some incredible pathing options. He's reading. He's all in the right places at the right time. I feel like he's always baiting cooldowns in the team fight. Mid game, I feel like he's playing up. He's not afraid. He pushes when he plays tanks. He gets into objectives. He's doing great on shot calling. I mean, yeah, I'd say he's absolutely a great candidate for MVP on the team. Carry potential, support when he needs to. I think one of the beauties of the team is that anybody can kind of carry just based on the circumstances of the game and what the team composition is going to be. And, you kind of pick it up for other players. And, Santorin's been fantastic.
Mark, here, I will represent Bruno's take since he put it in the chat. And you can decide if you buy this or not. So I'll be the caller since Steve obviously agrees with the caller. Mark, Santorin is the most consistent player in the league. He's very adaptable, and he has a champion Ocean. He never plays bad. He always gets back when put behind, not just not on carry style, aside from Viego these weeks. So it's not really noticeable, but he enables his 3 lanes wonderfully. Does he have a champ Ocean, and is he the most consistent player in the league, you think?
I mean, most in the league is strong, but he's definitely very consistent, and he has a champ Ocean. I don't disagree that much with anything he said, but you can literally copy and paste that and just swap in Bjergsen's name, and like it's the same. It's also true, and this is my whole concern about Team Liquid's like MVP candidacy is like, as Steve just said, any of them can carry. All of them are really good, and all of them have carried at different points in the season. The first half felt like Whippo.
Great.
Yeah. Second half felt more Bjergsen. Hans was consistent with Santorin the whole time and being good. Core came in late, so it's hard to win MVP if you only play half the season. So, like, it's just like, I don't really, like, they're just a really well-balanced team, but they're not so dominant that you can, like, just
Do you remember when
pick
EULCS
anyone.
gave MVP to a coach? Like back in 2014.
You think Yohoto should get it?
No. I was gonna say they should just give it to Team Liquid. Most valuable player, the Team Liquid roster.
Most valuable players, Steve, for signing them. Like he said, he did all the due diligence. He realized that there would be no personality clashes. You know.
Daylor. It was Daylor. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Most valuable player, Steve. Yes.
Yeah. It was only for a single week. It was player of the week they gave to.
No, I thought
Daylor.
it was for a split.
No, they didn't do that. It was the final week when they completed their 18-0. They gave it to him.
Okay.
I think Hooney won MVP or Rainover or something. But yeah, they wouldn't troll that hard.
It's hard to pick somebody, honestly. It depends on like what period in the split. Are you talking about just recent results? I mean, you know, Bjergsen's Ari was absolutely insane. Like how many times? 3 or 4 times in a row. Like it would be hard to choose.
Yeah, that's why I feel bad. I feel like TL will have all their players on first or second team across the board almost, but then also not have any votes for MVP for anyone because it's just too hard to pick someone. Yeah, week 9 MVP, player of the week.
Yeah.
You just proved my point.
I was correcting myself.
Oh, you were holding that L? That's brave of you. Thank you for holding that L.
I was holding that L, Mark. Jesus.
I respect it.
I'm an L friend. Okay.
You're usually afraid of the L's.
All right, let's move on to the next caller.
Wait. Yeah.
This is our last caller?
Last caller, yeah.
Okay, then I need to take a quick break to talk about our final sponsor of the evening, Full Sail University. So I went to Full Sail a couple of weeks ago. I told you guys I was going to create a little vlog from my time there, and we have done that now. So let me go ahead and show you this little mini vlog on screen right now. I am sorry, callers who are, or podcast listeners, because this will not work, but thank you to Full Sail for sponsoring. And just here's a quick little glimpse of my trip to their event thing. Here we go. Hello everyone, I am at Full Sail University today in the Fortress, which is their giant esports arena. Because this week is Hall of Fame week, and they've invited me here to check out the university. They've got an awesome esports program, but let's take a look at some of the other things that they have on campus first. Now behind me is a bunch of memorabilia from folks who have graduated from Full Sail and gone off to do really amazing things like work on great video games, win Emmys, Oscars, platinum records. It's really incredible the list of folks that have come from this university. One of the things I've been most impressed by at this school is the esports program Full Sail Armada. In classrooms just like this, students learn how to create art, how to design things, how to tell stories, all these amazing skills that they will take with them into their future careers. Cool. Thank you to Full Sail for sponsoring the show. I had a really great time going there, and so it was fun putting together that little video. I will be sharing this on my Twitter if you want to see it sometime this week if you're listening to the podcast. And then I also have a fun little feature that I did with some of their esports team folks. So if you want to take a look at that, that will also be going out. So thank you to Full Sail for sponsoring the show. Go check them out. I really enjoyed my time there, and I think they're worth looking into. Mark, you want to go grab our last caller?
Yeah, but before I go, I forgot. I got to do Bruno C shout-outs for the Santorin wins MVP topic.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to Argentina. Shout out to Team Liquid, Steve, and Kinky Boots, the musical which Bruno is a part of in Argentina.
Fantastic. I'm sad we missed them. I love it when we get international callers.
Yeah, I know. Bummer.
Cindablock, thank you for the 14 months. And Mesh Terry, thank you for the year. All right. Mark is off to go grab our last caller, and then we will be there. Thank you for coming on, Steve. It's been nice having you on.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Hopefully, if we end up doing our live Hotline League in in Houston.
Please make it happen. Why wouldn't it happen?
Why wouldn't it happen? I can't officially announce it yet because we're working with folks on making it happen. So once that gets announced, then I'll be able to talk
I
about
get
it.
an invite then?
Yes, no, exactly. You definitely would. You
Yeah,
definitely
I want to swing by. We'll jump on the show. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Wild is here. Wild, where are you calling from?
Buffalo, New York.
Where? Oh, Buffalo, New York?
Yeah, good food.
Nice. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Just with playoffs starting and people returning to having a crowd and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of storylines with players coming back to stage, and all that's kind of going to be culminating to finals in person and stadium finally. And just there's a lot of narrative around that, and there's a lot of weight riding behind that event. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, if you will. It's been a while since anyone had an in-person competition for League, and the pull behind League and Riot in general this year is bigger than a lot of years in the past. They've kind of, I don't know, they're in a pretty good, unique spot to hit the ground running with a lot of good things they've been doing in the last couple of years, and people are really starved for a big League competition and big Riot event. And I just think that especially with Worlds coming back to NA later this year and so many different kind of things coming to a head all at the same time, this event is way bigger than anything that Riot has had or League has had in the last couple of years, and it's really, really important for kind of how this is going to go.
I mean, I'll take a bit of a more, I don't want to say pessimistic, but I think there's a lot riding on this. I, for instance, am really hopeful that
angle.
They actually sell out at least the finals days, because they're having it in a pretty big arena, and I know that they're not filling all the seats in that arena intentionally because they're going to do the way they set up the stage and all that stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of pessimism right now around League, around the viewership. Spring numbers have not been great, and I know that there's some conversation. I don't have the historic data, but there's some conversation I've seen out in the community that the costs for this finals is more expensive for tickets. So I'm a little nervous, and I'm hopeful that they end up selling out. But I think it's going to be really disappointing if, on top of spring viewership looking low, if we end up with a lot of empty areas in the audience. I expect it's going to be a really cool event regardless, but I'm a bit worried about that.
Khan was someone who originally posted this topic, and then he disappeared when I wanted to pull him, and then it's been this was originally his topic. He said that he also feels like this is personally the most important event for League of Legends in the past few years. I think you can say for a while, given that it should be the first in-person one for the past few years, on top of back when we were throwing other events, things were just more gravy. So, it didn't need to do anything really. I mean, I think the League events are always good. They're always a lot of fun. This time I heard, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. I haven't looked at the plan when you try and buy tickets, but I'm pretty sure the field area is supposed to be more like an area to do things.
So
I've heard tailgating and type stuff, but I think that's going to be, instead of being outside, it'll be more inside on the field.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I think they're having Fan Fest inside the arena, which is what I believe you're getting at.
Yeah, I don't know the terms for things, but when I was asking, wow, we got a fucking football stadium that seats 90,000 people. How many tickets are we selling? How are we gonna fill that shit up? And then it was oh well, it'll be the stage is facing a portion, and then the rest of the field is for the fan event type stuff.
Yeah, it says ticket holders gain access to a variety of exciting activities, including an arcade, escape room, lounge, live events, team booths, and a college fair. Be on the lookout for more on-site activity information as we get closer to the event. So I think that on-site stuff is happening inside the venue. So again, I'm not. Let's put it this way, Mark. Even if they're cutting it in half, that's 45,000 seats that could look very empty if they can't.
No, it's definitely filling the corner area, this thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the seating plan is out. I'm pretty sure to pick your seats.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think Riot is starting to think about doing their events in a better way than they've done them in the past. I think it's always been come and watch the game and then leave, and the spectacle was the game, and that was it. Now I think they're doubling down more on experience and making it an affair to go to the event, right? And they started that off with Arcane. I don't know if anybody had the opportunity to go downtown LA and experience the whole Arcane event, but I think they're pivoting a bit to tailgate, I guess, the experience of going to a league event. And I think now is the right time to do it. So I think it's the right strategy. I think a lot of people that want to go, some of them may not follow esports. They'll be friends of friends and they still want to go have a good time and do this escape room stuff. And, you know, that vibe and that experience, those sell tickets for years to come because people have a really good time. And then I think the caller's right that this year is a big year because World is going to be in NA. You know, you've got Mexico City, Vancouver, I think, New York, San Francisco. Toronto, sorry. Those are big cities, right? And I'm pretty sure Riot is not going to do it cheap. You know, I think they're down to spend some money. And so if they double down on this like experience, you know, have fun with the Riot IP, have a good time with your friends, plus watch esports and play the game. It's like this, yeah, it's probably a really good time. You know, it's like something you want to go to. And if they create that, and you know, I think it'll be a big success for a lot of fans. Plus people are ready to go out and do something, you know.
Yeah.
COVID.
I think it'd be really cool if there was like a live show that occurred there.
Like a Hotline League kind of show.
Oh yeah,
something
like a Hotline
like
League
that.
kind of thing. Yeah, that would be pretty neat.
I hope something like that happens.
I thought it might be cool to do like a team's like after party, like a post game lobby or something, where like the team event, the teams that are participating in Worlds, like the teams that want to opt in or something, they host an event, and you know, after a day of competition, there's just like a big party.
You love those events. You always host stuff like that, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think people want to hang out with the players, and we want to hang out with our fans, and you know, just have fun and just make it a thing. Because I feel like it's always. Like I remember going to the Staples Center and watching the finals, and you like go there, you sit in your seat, you watch the game. Hopefully the game's good. If the game sucks, you're just like, well, that fucking sucked, and then you leave. And it's like. That's not a great experience, you know. You want to like go and do something more. That's why I like BlizzCon, because I would be like, oh, I have all these friends that I've never, you know, met IRL, and I want to go hang out and get a hotel and go to the venue and walk around. It's like a whole thing, you know.
So this prompted a very funny memory for me. I have two follow-up questions, Steve. First, when you guys qualified for MSI, the Alienware training facility threw like a big shindig. And like Travis and I were there, and we were all like, "Oh my God, Team Liquid made MSI finals! Like they beat the best team in the tournament. Like we can beat G2 for sure, right? Like we can do this." And then it was the fastest 3-0 to date in international play. Would you, in front of your home crowd in North America, go to, let's say, semis and then disappoint all the fans in the arena and then throw an after party after? Like, would you take that, or would you rather lose in, say, quarters?
No. I
Wait, didn't this literally happen in Vegas? You guys threw the event in Vegas after that. Did you guys lose in Vegas? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember if we won or lost, but I think we lost. Actually.
I think you lost, yeah, because it wasn't that when you guys were playing against Immortals, and I think Immortals beat you guys. I think this was the same.
Lost. And then and then we still hosted the after party, which was we had
Drink to forget.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, players are normally by that point in time, you know this, Mark, like normally by several hours afterwards, the players are just like, all right, well, at least I'm fucking done for now, and I could just chill until the season starts again. So it's usually terrible for the first couple hours, and then they're
I know for the players. I'm wondering, like, you know, for the brand, you're the hope of North America. It's like semis, so it's not like you're in World Finals. So everyone, obviously, you're gonna take World Finals. You get to semis, you just get absolutely clapped, and like, I don't know where semis are going to be at, but like, you know, you're in some giant arena,
Toronto,
in front of the home crowd in North America, and it's just the fucking library. I don't know. That's a lot of pressure. Maybe you just go out in quarters, fighting.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you definitely want to make it. So my other question was the more serious about the playoffs having fans as well. Just like is this something you guys have talked about at all as a team? Like, holy shit, fans are going to be back. Like, is there going to be tailgate type stuff the way it used to be for fans at LCS this weekend?
I don't know what I don't think they're allowing tailgating at LCS. But I like some of my fondest memories of LCS were having the car, playing Smash, drinking beer in the parking lot at LCS before the games, you know? Like it was just you just hang out and you just have a good time and you chill before you go in, right? It's not like go in, get a hot dog, sit down and that's it. But I don't think they're going to have IRL for playoffs. It will just be in Houston.
No, they have fans. They don't have tailgating this weekend, but they do have fans.
Oh, you can get tickets and go.
They've sold out. Yeah,
they sold out.
Playoffs. You can go. They'll have audience for the arena starting this weekend.
Steve, where have you been? It's the great news. Playoffs for LCS and LA have sold out for the entire playoffs already.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's starting this weekend. Cool. They have fans back.
It's Pog. That's why I was asking. It's
your
pretty
team will play.
I mean, Team Liquid.
Obviously, there's a difference between the 90,000 person arena, however much you could cut it, and like the 300 seats in the LCS arena. But your players will be playing in front of a crowd this weekend.
Someone should tell Gilhoto if he doesn't know yet. In the team, just prepare them so they don't fucking get on stage and they're like, "Wow, what the fuck are all these people doing?"
Yeah. Wow, they really
crowd of 5.
These cardboard cutouts have gotten really lifelike, the way they're handling these things now.
No, that's pretty cool. Wow, and it sold out, the whole thing?
Yeah, it sold out like a week or two ago. I think it sold out really quickly after they put it on sale.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do we know if they sold out Houston?
No, Houston is definitely not sold out yet. That's the big concern. Like, that's my concern is I really hope they sell it out. But they did sell out the LCS arena, so...
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to go.
Yes.
I know we finally lifted a lot of the requirements in LA, so I guess they just did it.
Ironically, I had to interview people remote. For those that haven't seen my Hansama interview, people that watched last week's episode will know that I had a false positive test, but because of the policies, they had to treat the false positive as if it was an actual positive, so we had to do a very janky setup where anybody who watches the interviews that I have coming out this week, we had my camera person at the LCS parking lot, and then he was using his phone and had me via Discord, and we would put a headset on the players and have them talk to me through the phone being held up with the Discord window, and it actually worked out pretty well. So if people haven't seen my interviews, go check that out. But Mark was unable to handle it or to work this weekend with me because he had stuff, so we did it this way. But yeah,
as you noticed, we didn't even have a host this weekend, so things were a little on fire for playoffs end or for regular season end. There's actually a Reddit post on the front page of Reddit right now that says, "Hey, I'm going to my LCS for the first time this weekend coming up. Any advice?" Or like what should I expect and things like that. So I don't know if everyone here has some advice they want to give if there's other listeners right now who are going to be going to their first one. My advice I posted a little bit ago, I didn't see the post until just recently, but my advice was to give me $10 if you see me.
First time going to LCS, yeah.
Yeah, if you see me around, it's your first time at the LCS, just give me
No, they're not going
$10.
this weekend, Mark. They're going to Texas.
No, this is for the LCS this weekend.
There's a Reddit thread that says first time going to LCS.
No, wait, you're right. I misread it.
As the title says, I just bought tickets to go to the NA LCS in Texas.
Fuck. See, I was reading the comments. I didn't actually read the post. And a bunch of people were like talking about the LCS and like, oh, food at the LCS is actually not that bad and stuff. Fuck, it's the Texas one? God damn it.
One of my the top comment, one of my favorite is this. Unfortunately, there's no pro fan meet this year, but if we're lucky, we might get cutouts, Lamau. But there is a chance you'll run into on-air talent, streamers, and ex-pros. Fair warning, most of them are awkward as fuck, but some of them are really easy to talk to and get photos with. Yeah, if you run into Mark, he is awkward as fuck.
$5 if you want that photo.
I agree.
Bring deodorant, and for the love of God, take a fucking shower.
Yes, those are honestly good advice, dude.
Oh my God. All right.
All right. Well, my question still stands for people going this weekend. Steve, do you have any advice for fans?
This weekend should be some good games. It will be good to see everybody in person and an actual live League of Legends event for the first time in 2 years, right?
Yeah. Longer than 2 because we shut down like in the middle of November, or sorry, in middle of March 2020. So
yeah,
longer than 2.
My gosh, I'm just like I remember when C9 won the championships and like there's like celebrating in like a bedroom. It's like
yes,
God.
and they broke the trophy there, didn't they? Is that was when they
So,
broke
like,
the trophy?
that's so sad. It'll be good to see everybody, and if you do have tickets and you're at LCS for playoffs and you see me, come say hi.
Wild, still here. I know we've talked around you for a little bit, but anything you want to add to the conversation really quickly before I give you your shout outs?
Nothing too crazy. I did have the fortunate opportunity when Owl hadn't crashed and burned yet. I got the chance to go to both of the Overwatch League grand finals, the one in New York City and the one in Philadelphia, and those were two of the coolest events I'd ever been
did you
to,
get to
just
see,
like for sporting in general.
What's his face? DJ Khaled or whatever?
God, don't even bring that up. It's a repressed memory at this point.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Wild. Why have you been to a League of Legends event?
I have never been to a League event. I actually got into League. I don't know. I left Overwatch to get into League. I don't know what happened to me.
No, I was just
one died, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if I'd improved. But
Yeah, don't kill this one, please.
So I'm excited. I'm going to be going to our whole league group that we play with is getting together to go to quarters in Toronto.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out Alienware. They were my first PC. Shout out Grubhub. I live downtown and use them to buy food all the time. Love your work. Follow your journalism since I started getting into League. You make amazing content. Appreciate you guys. Steve, you do
so
cool
much.
stuff at Liquid.
We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you, dude.
We have the best callers. Okay. Mark, what do you want to shout out here?
Shout out Steve for coming on. Shout out Team Liquid for winning their seventh championship. How many championships?
Yet.
How many championships do you have? 4, 5, 6?
We have 4 plus 2 lock-in. I don't. You can't count those. I can if you want.
Okay, I was counting those, but since you don't count those, congrats on winning your 5th championship.
Knock on wood.
I want to give a shout out to Kobe, who just rated us with 500 people in the final 2 minutes of the show. Don't go anywhere, folks, because
he had to have been able to hear you ending the show too. Like, he's one room over, and I know we're loud enough to hear that we're wrapping up, and he raids.
Yeah, well, the stream will still keep going, so it's just funny timing. But thank you, Kobe, for rating. Steve, what do you want to shout out?
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me on the show. It's always a good time. I guess I'll probably see you guys at playoffs or
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, this is always a good time. Appreciate everybody watching and chilling with us.
Steve, do you have by any chance a loyalty program that people could sign up for? I was just thinking recently about how cool it would be if a team had a loyalty program, and I was curious if perhaps here in the final moments you could mention that to me.
Yes, of course. Well, now that you say that, Travis, we do actually, and it's called Liquid Plus, and you can go to it by going to www.liquidplus.com. And once you sign up, you can earn points and rewards to redeem for experiences, for cool shit with your fans and me and the players. So go sign up.
Steve,
right
do I have
now.
to buy something to get those points?
You don't. It's entirely free. There's no cost. You just have to spend a few minutes and hook up your account.
Wow, that's
Go for it.
that's
Wow.
fantastic. Yeah, people in chat are asking for a check-in. Maybe we should do that next time, as we need to get a link for people generate a link to if they can get a check-in or whatever if they watch the show. My final shout-outs go to Brandon Sanderson, whose Kickstarter is in the final days right now for his secret novels. He's already hit, I think, 35 million right now. So go help, because it's already the #1 Kickstarter of all time, and it needs to put so much gap and distance between it and everything else that it stays this way for many years to come. Yeah, almost at 36 million. So Go back the Brandon Sanderson Kickstarter if you like any of his work, and if not, become a fan of his work by looking at the Travis Gafford Books channel and finding that out. Either way, thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you, Steve, for coming on the show. Thank you to all of our lovely sponsors. We'll be back next week with another episode, and we'll catch you all then.